Hello, welcome to Lucy's Big Beautiful World of Painting. I have another fun project today where I'm going to be using Deco Art's Chalky Gesso. Now, most of the time, historically, gesso has been used underneath oil paintings as a primer on the surfaces. It could be a canvas or wood or any surface, okay? But now gesso is used in other applications, and I'm actually using it for 95% of my painting because I want to get that shabby chic vintage look to it. So I won't be putting a varnish over this one because I want that shabby chic look, and the chalk paint is great for that. So the chalky gesso comes in a lot of colors, so it's wonderful. You can mix them together, you can mix them with regular acrylics, and you have to give those a try. They're really, really beautiful. So I am going to be using an 11 by 14 red label canvas from Frederick's, okay, which was already primed with gesso. So I didn't have to put any more gesso on top of it. If I wanted to, I could have put a coat of gesso, sanded it, coated again, and that's what I do when I do oil paintings, okay? So with the oil paintings, I'll show you one of my studies. This was a quick study I did. Underneath, I used the gray gesso. I let it dry, sanded it, painted it again, all right? So this is how I did this. You can see the gray showing through. This is a quick study, again, in oil painting, but the gesso is used for oil application as well as acrylic and all. So I just wanted to show you that. So I'm going to get started. I just did I just drew in a little figure, okay? I made it easy. No face, no hair. I just drew a hat first and then kind of put in a body any way I could. If you feel you can't even do that, you can go and you can print out a coloring book page of a little girl or whatever, you know, type of person you want to put in there, an animal, anything, and then you can just trace it on, all right? I just drew this in real fast. I don't have a great drawing ability, but for something like this, when it's more of an abstract and I'm not doing a lot of detail, it seems to work out pretty well. All right, so I'm using the Traditions brushes today, the Deco Art Traditions. This is a big flat brush, okay? It's a wonderful brush. You can see how sturdy it is. So I'm going to start by using a Vintage Effect wash, all right? So this is a wonderful paint, and this paint does pickled and washes. You can use it on furniture, and it's wonderful. I'm actually using it as a medium today to make my chalky paint mix with it so I can blend a little better, okay? I didn't want to use a regular medium because I didn't want to give any shine to the chalk paint. Okay, that was the whole idea, to make it look chalky like shabby chic. So I already have these out on my palette. I won't be able to lift up the palette too much because these are a little bit more liquidy, all right? So I just wanted to show you this. This is the Vintage Effect wash, and you can look that up and see all the great things it does, okay? It really is a great performer. So that's it for now. So here I go. Going into my Vintage Effect wash. This is the white, and I just want to get some of this on here because I'm going to be blending a sky, all right? And like I said, I'm using it as a medium. Let me tighten this up again. See if that works better. There we go. I might be pushing a little bit too hard, which means I need a little more paint. So I'm using this as a medium. I'm doing it by sections, okay, because the chalky gesso dries a little bit fast. So now I have a nice just coating. You probably can't see it, okay, because it is white, but it's a little bit of shininess, and that's going to help me blend a little. Now, with the chalky paint, what I'm doing is I'm adding in a tiny, tiny bit of color to it to change the color. But I'm not using the acrylic and then adding the chalky paint. I want that chalk look still, so I don't want to add too much. So what I'm doing is I'll just show you a little, and it may just move a little around here while I'm doing it. I have a tiny, tiny bit of Phthalo blue, that's the premium paint, and I'll just move it over, okay? See how rich that color is? That is the premium paint. I don't want that rich of a color. So I'm putting a lot of this chalky paint in it. All right, I'm gonna put it back down again, moving around a bit, and I just am making it a pale, pale blue, but I'm not going to have the shine. And I can test it once I get it up here. So there is my pale blue. And for the sake of the camera, I think it would be better if I actually made it a little darker than even my original, just so you can see it better, okay? So I'm just gonna do it a little darker. Now with that Vintage Effects underneath, you can see that it is blending very nicely. And I'm just pushing the paint out of the brush so you can see I'm getting some lining in there, and that's great for a sky. That's what I wanted. I want to show you how quick I'm doing this sky. That's it. That's it for the sky. Okay, for the blue part of the sky, I should say. Now, what I'd like to do is I wanted to put some color in because we're going for this kind of, I guess, like a fantasy, you know, vintage look. So I want to put some of the same colors in the sky that I have down that I'm putting in the grassy area. So I'm just going into a little bit of the pink. I'm not washing the brush, okay? I just want to get a little bit of that pink in there, brighten that up a little bit more maybe. Okay, so now I have a little bit of that pink in the sky. And I think that looks pretty. So it's just an illusion. I could go put clouds and put all birds and everything, but we just want the illusion. The main focus of this really is this back of this little girl kind of looking out, all right? So without even washing the brush. Now, this is going to be a little illusion of water in here. So I can go right onto the water. I did put a little green in the water to make it look like it's reflecting from some of the ground coloring and all. So I'm going to use a little tiny bit of the avocado, and I'm just going to move it over. I'm just moving it out of the way on the canvas because this way I can judge the color better. And I'm going into the white, and I'm just mixing that in a little, and I still have the blue and the white in the brush. And I'll see, I want to add a little blue, so you can kind of see it's mostly white because I want to test it for now. All right, so I just want to make sure I cover up that line back there. All right, and we'll see what color we get here. So some color is coming out, not that much. So I'm going to go back into the blue a little bit more, okay? Because I don't want the water area the same color as the sky area, all right? Now, I'm not worried if I go over this little, my little pencil drawing, that's okay. As long as I can see through it a little, that's good enough, just so I can get an idea of where it is. So I'm going to go back into the white and back to the blue. I want to even this out a little bit, all right? Now my canvas is moving a little back and forth. There we go. And I can still see my little picture underneath, so okay, I'm going to stand back. I want to get some blue on the other side, just a little bit. I'm afraid to do too much because once you put it on, it's hard to get that off. You can't get it off once you get it on there. So here we go. And I can always adjust it a little by going in a little more blue, make it a little bluer. There we go. Now I can see the blue better. But like I said, I want it to be lighter. I want you to be able to tell that it's a little bit of water, but I don't want it to be as dark as the sky. I want to separate that a little bit, all right? So it looks like a little bit of blue-gray water. I can see my horizon line is not exactly straight, so when you do your painting, you can put a piece of tape across it to make sure your horizon is straight. But just for the sake of the lesson, I just want to show you the process of how I'm doing this, all right? So we'll go on to the bottom now. Now the bottom, let me see, I did pretty well without the vintage effects, okay? Let me see if I'm going to use it again. I want to get a little more blue in here though. And that's a little bit too much blue. So I'm going to really, really spread that out. Really wanted to make that a little blue because I don't think you'll be able to see it on film. So I am making it a little more blue than I originally intended to make sure you can see. So now at least you can see a little bit of a definition. All right, so down here, what I did was I just put in some random grasses in all the colors, a little bit of bushes, just to kind of frame the girl. When you look at this painting, the eye should go right to the little girl. So I didn't overdo it, all right? So what I did was I just took a pale color. I took some white and some green, some of the chalky gesso green, and I just filled in down here just to get a little green in there, just to start the background, okay? And I'm going around her a little bit, and she has some legs there. You really can't see them because I'm not really going to paint legs in. I'm just going to kind of cover it with some grass and put in some white so maybe it looks like, you know, those old-fashioned stockings. You know, whichever the viewer is going to interpret this, you know, in the way that they see it, which probably will be different than how I do. So just the idea, I want to show you how nicely you can use this chalky gesso. I hope that you come up with some ideas on your own to find ways to use this nice chalky gesso. All right, so now we have a green background, okay? And you can see what I did was I started to put the grasses in. So what I think I'll do for now is I'll go on to the girl and then go back to the grasses. All right, I can go back and forth, all right? See which way it works better. So I'm using this little tiny brush, and it's a 1/8 angle brush. And it's tiny, and it has this nice angle, all right? Since this little girl that I'm doing is small, you can see how this will fit all over. How I started this little girl was, I took the blush, okay, and that's the regular acrylic. This is the Americana Blush Pink, all right? And I just started to paint in most of it, all right? Because what I wanted to do was just go back and put shading and highlighting after I got most of the pink on there, okay? And I thought that would be the easiest way to do it. There we go. All right, so see, I'm just kind of painting in where my lines are. I'm not worried if it doesn't fill it all in, because like I said, I am going to go back again. Here was an arm I had over here. I see this line in here from her dress, and you can see I'm just rubbing it in. I'm actually picking up some of the pencil marks. That's okay. It doesn't matter, because we can go right over those pencil marks. This was just like a little arm on the side. Again, no details. You can see I don't really have details. I'm going to just putting in some shadows and some highlights just to give that illusion that it's a dress, that she has like a dress on. See, I'm just going around the shape of the dress here. I'll put in, like I said, some white legs. Just the idea that, you know, maybe it looks like a, you know, some stockings. Have a little basket over there, which is, you know, just kind of fun. Makes it look like she's just, you know, standing by the water with a little basket, all right? So let's see. What I'll do now is, now I can use some of the blue to do some of the highlighting, the shadow. But I have to be real careful with that blue because we're dark. So I am going to mix it with the white, and then I can see if I mix it with a little bit of the pink, then it's just going to darken it up. So let me see, that's not dark enough. So what I could do, let me hold up my palette just a little bit. What I would do now is I would start doing a little bit of a value study. So that would be a little bit darker, then I can mix a little white, make it a little lighter, and then I can figure out what I need, okay? I just moved all my paint into my dark blue, that's okay. So I'm gonna work with the different shades of blue to see where I can, you know, just get some in. So on this side of the dress, I'll get a little bit of blue in there. I'm just rubbing it in. I may want to mix it with a little white there. Okay, get a little white. You can see, so I'm just trying to make it look like it is a dress, okay? And then I can go back. When I did this, my practice painting, I did go back and forth a little bit before, you know, between the colors. And that's something that we may or may not have time to do that much of, okay? So now I just want to outline it because I see it's dry on the edge. So I just want to make sure that that does give that illusion of a skirt, all right? And I'll go back to that again. Same thing, I'm going to do the same thing up top, again with a little bit of blue. And I may even mix a little pink in with that blue. Okay, get a nice little blue color. And I can, you know, put in a little lining in here. Okay, so I think you kind of get the idea what I'm doing. I'm just separating the coloring now, all right? Separating. I did use a little bit of the red violet, and that's how I got that little bit of purple look. So I'll come over here, get a little purple in, so that really makes it look like that side is in shadow a little bit. Okay, like I said, this is just a small painting, so you really can't do it wrong. We just want to get that illusion and that you can tell that this is a girl standing by the water. I want to get some darkness in the edge of her hat over here. So see, this angle brush is very good. All right, there we go. Now I want to blend that in a little, so I'm going to pick up a little pink. So I want you to play around with the colors. I want you to go back and forth with the pinks, and you know, the pink and the blue and the white, and then this way you'll kind of get the idea of how to blend the colors together. You'll be able to get the coloring you like. Okay, see, I'm just rubbing these together now. I didn't want that quite so dark. Now, of course, it's not going to look like my original, okay, because that was, you know, done at home and, you know, kind of practice. all right? And I'm going to put a little bit of white in here. So you can kind of see how I'm building up her color a little, all right? Now what I like to do is, just so we can see a little better, is I'm going to put that bow around the hat. So all I'm doing is dragging the brush, all right? Just dragging it. I'm gonna do that bow in the back of her. This way you can start to see. Over here, I wanna do just what might be an illusion of a little basket, and I am doing it in blue, and I could fill it in with a little color and go back over it again. All right, just so we can see where we're going with it. All right, I think that you're hopefully getting the idea of it now. All right, I'm just rinsing out that brush a little bit. I felt it getting a little bit dry, and I'm gonna just fill in a little bit of a light pink over here. Well, actually, I'll do a little bit more white. You know, maybe that's her hand in here. You know, we really are not going to be able to tell, okay? So back here should be a little bit of that green. So I'm going back and forth. You can see I'm not washing the brush every time. I'm just wiping it. So back here should be a little green in there. So the basket maybe can show through. So I just want to neaten that up a little bit, okay? I told you that I was going to just do a little bit of white, just an illusion of maybe some stockings that she's wearing, okay? So that's it. I'm going to put grasses over it. Yep, I know it doesn't look like legs. We're going to get some grasses on it. Like I said, just an illusion. So I want to go back again, put a highlight on this side, little highlight on this side. Okay, so you can see I'm just changing the colors back and forth. That's how you can make things look a little more three-dimensional. When you do a painting and it looks flat, your best bet is to go back and forth between dark and light, dark and light. So I'm going to get just a little illusion of a bow in here. I'm not really painting on a bow. I'm just kind of putting a little paint on there and pulling it down. So you can see it's not really a bow. Okay, if I wanted to paint an exact bow, I would really paint the bow, but I don't want to, not for this type of painting. It's just the idea. We just want to get the illusions in there. We want people to look at it and say, oh, you know, that's a little girl wearing a dress looking at the water or something. I'm just dotting the middle, give that little illusion. Okay, so you can see it's starting to look like she's wearing a dress, and I can work on that more. For now, first thing I want to do is just have her arm come out a little bit more, because that looks kind of off. I had some blue in my brush, so I could put some blue over here. And I will go back and put a little pink there so we get back to the original color that we were before, a little pinker, all right? So like I said, I would go along the edges, neaten it up a little bit. I have to wash this brush out. I have a little bit too much blue in there. That blue, the pigment in the premium colors is really a great pigment. So that sometimes you have to wash a little, you have to wash that a little more. So I'm going back and putting my original color back in. All right, and I want to get a little more pink in here. We don't want to go too far away from the pink. Can pull some down in here. So like I said, and this is an illusion painting. We don't want the detail. We just want the viewer to realize what it is that we're painting, okay? And this is a little girl looking out at that water. So I'm just going to come in, straighten this out a little bit. I want to make sure that we can see that that is definitely a hat. I'm getting a little more on this side. I want still more dark and light, okay? So you could see just a little bit of an illusion, something you could fuss around with as much as you want, all right? What I want to do now is I want to start getting some of the grasses in. Then if I have time, I can go back and I can work on the girl a little more. All righty? So what I did for the grasses, first, you know, I just noticed something. I see that I put a little bit of pink in the water. Color harmony, we'll get a little pink in there. So I'm going to do that now so I don't forget, because we have some pink in the sky, so we'll get a little bit of pink in the water. See, I can already tell I have too much paint on there, so I'm just going to wipe it off. And I still have too much paint. Wipe it off again. Get some pink in there, okay? And I actually like that pink. So look what I'm doing. I'm just kind of rubbing that brush out a little more to get some into the sky again. I wanted to make it a little bit brighter, all right? So now, what I did was to get some grasses, I took a mop brush, all right? Because the mop brush is very easy just to go like this and get some simple grasses in there. Now, I actually mixed a little bit of the dark blue, which got stuck underneath my green, all right? I mixed the dark blue with a little white, all right? And very simply, I'm just gently patting. I'm just patting it, okay? That's it, just a little bit of patting it. So now, if here is my land, here is the water. My painting, I could see I did a little higher. I can just come in like this and pat some of this blue. It doesn't have to be the same, see? I can actually widen it a little bit. I want to come over here. I don't want this side the same. So maybe, you know what? I think I'll break the horizon with it, come up a little higher. I'm just changing the whole painting now, all right? I'm not doing it like before because I like the way that looked, so I'm changing it around as I'm going. I like the idea of having more there, all right? So this blue, I can come in and just start to fill this in just to get a little bit of more color, a little more color in there. I like to have a lot of color. The other thing is we're gonna come up and cover her legs and all. So right now all I'm doing is just gently doing, pushing the brush up just to get a little more color in there, all right? Now we can't wash this brush out because if it gets too soaked, we can't get this liney look. So I'm just going like this and rubbing it out a little bit, okay? So we're just gonna get some of it out. It's still gonna show, all right? But you can see the paint goes a long way. See how much I'm rubbing and it's still in there? See that? So I'm going to just dab in the pink a little bit because I still want the color harmony. So I want to get some pink in, okay? Now that looks like a lot of pink to me. That's okay because I'm going to put some other colors in it. So like I said, this is one of those kind of fantasy looking paintings, so you can kind of do anything you want with the color. I do love pink. I just don't want to put too much pink because then it's going to take away from her pink dress, and then my focal point will start to get spread out, okay? So what I will do is I'll come in with a little more blue, and I'll just put some grasses in like this, okay? So see how I changed that around a little bit? I changed it around, got some blue in there. I'm going to wipe it out. It's getting really damp. And I'm going to pat in some of the white. Now this is the regular white, not the vintage white, okay? And I want to come in gently and just get some in here. Okay, we'll go over her legs a little there. So you can kind of see, I'm just doing a very, very simple, this is a great beginner project. You don't have to learn any strokes. You're just patting the brush around. I'm just pulling it up, adding darks and lights, all right? So I don't want you to feel like, oh, I won't be able to do it. This is just a fun painting. Once you do it once, you'll see that it's easy to do. Okay, so I'm just gonna put this brush down, not put it in the water yet, just in case I need it. What I do wanna do is, I want to come in with some of the avocado and white, and I'm coming in on my little tiny brush now. This is the little tiny one, the little angle brush, and I wanna pull up some green grasses. Okay, I just want to get some green grass. I'm actually going to come up underneath her here a little bit. I want to get another color in there. I want to make sure that it just definitely looks like some grasses now. So this would be a little bit more of a detailed definition of the paint, okay? Just pulling some up. I'm not worried if it's not perfect. Just want to get some in there. I'm putting some green in front of the blue. This way the blue looks like it's behind. It looks like it's further away. So like I said, this is just like an abstract, a bit of an abstract painting, just to get that shabby chic look. And that's what's fun about it, because there's no rhyme or reason to it. You'll add as little or as much as you want. Okay, I'm still adding just green, random green, and getting as much as I can, just so you can get the idea of the actual painting itself. Alrighty. There we go. See, so I'm just pulling the tip of the brush up, the chisel edge, and just pulling some grasses, and I'm just kind of making them random. I don't want a pattern, so I'll kind of stay back and see if there's, make sure I don't have a pattern. I'm covering up whatever's under there. So see the pink I'm covering. I'm just making layers now. That's it, just making layers. I'll make some taller, some shorter. Alrighty, and let's see what else. What I do like is to put some white illusion of like wildflowers in between here, because that white really makes it pop like once you see some white in there. And that's easy enough to do too, okay? I'm just going to dip the brush in the white, and then you just come around and just make little dots here and there, random dots. I mean, this is simple. This is something you can do even with your children, okay? I mean, you can help if their fine motor skills, if they're young, are not that great, you can always, help them out with the little girl. But like I said, if they can just paint in the lines, it's great. It's a good way to get started because like I said, this doesn't have any real stroke work or anything. I'm just kind of filling it in and making it up as I go along. It's just the idea to use these, to get the shabby chic look with the chalky gesso. Sorry, I couldn't get those words out again. So the chalky gesso is just, it's really nice. It's fun. It's fun. It's a whole different look. All right, so now you can see I'm just dabbing them here and there. Again, I don't want to have any pattern or anything. I just want to dab them. Dab, dab, dab. So, and I will stand back a little bit and see what I have. All right, and I could always go back here, put a little lining in there. See, that looked a little better there once I did that. All right, I'm standing back, and I think that looks pretty good. I may want to put some green in the bushes a little, but I do like the blue though, so I may just leave it. I do like that. So for the last couple minutes, what I can do is I can come and I can work a little bit more on her. So I can put maybe a little more highlight on this one side. All right, so have her have a little highlight going down her arm here, just to distinguish her form a little bit. All right, and to not make this, look dry. All right, maybe the basket, I can come in and do a little work on that basket. See, I'm just using the chisel edge and kind of outlining a little bit. Putting a little lining in there. Like I said, no details needed, no detail. Put a little darker in here. All right, so it's a little, not really detailed because I'm not being real accurate with it and just trying to get the color. The main thing is to get a little bit of that color in there. So I want you to mix your paints on your palette, go back and forth between your palette, and you'll find the right color that you need just by mixing them. All right, I'm gonna put a little definition in her back here. I wanna make just this a little bit more, maybe a little more purple. All right, so you can see, that's it. All right, so what I would do is I would keep adding and adding until you're happy with it, all right? You can make it neater if you want to. Depends how you are. A painting like this doesn't necessarily have to be neat. It's the idea of making a shabby chic look, and it looks really nice in a frame. You can even paint the frame one of these colors and really get a shabby chic look, okay? So try the chalky gessos from Deco Art. It's a wonderful product, and thank you for tuning in. Come back and see my other shows.